Now, Kenya is among other African countries sourcing for more climate change funding. Over 260 leaders from the private sector are convening in Nairobi for a two-day climate change business summit to discuss more financing for Africa. Now, Africa is overly hit by climate change effects despite a low contribution to global CO2 emissions and lacks funding. Speaking at the ongoing summit in Nairobi, Chief Climate Affairs Adela Fusi stated that there is a 90% financing gap between the funds needed to achieve the continent's national determined contributions and the annual actual climate finance flows. The action of MDBs and DFIs catalyzed $24.6 billion of foreign capital flows towards the East African countries. Kenya attracted 28% of mapped capital flows, up to $7 billion, amounting to 932 billion shillings, with a focus on agriculture and urban development.
And he's also the chairman of the European House Ambrosetti.
Recognize the need to basically support the inclusion of these young people, then we're definitely not.
Thank you very much, Larry, and thanks for the opportunity to just a picture of how temperatures have actually risen over the years. First measure to mitigate the adverse impacts of climate change, mainly in agriculture and livestock, because
in the past 5 years, so starting in 2018 up to 2023, the total amount of money that the main multilateral development banks have been allocating to the area is about 25 billion USD. And when it comes to Kenya specifically, we were able to understand and to map that a very high portion of this financing has been allocated to Kenya. It was about 28%, meaning 7 billion. And the sectors that were most interested by these investments were actually agriculture. And when I say agriculture, I mean all the interventions that are aiming at making agricultural systems more resilient against climate change.
Lots of commitments have been made by DHL, probably most notably the fact that by 2050 we want to be carbon neutral. And we've also committed to certain targets by 2030. Now, like anything in life, those commitments requires an investment. And globally, we've committed 7 billion euros to sustainable aviation fuels so that we can reduce our emissions by approximately 30%.